the voice behind the Secret Lemonade Drinker song, and of course Elvis Costello's dad. And we were just talking a bit about Elvis Costello. I wanted to know your reaction, because about 3 years ago, Elvis grew his hair all long, had a long beard and everything. I mean, he looked a bit like a tramp, didn't he?
He looked a bit like a rabbi.
Yeah.
I could have got him a job as a mohel.
What did you think of him when he came back, looking like that?
You see, fathers are supposed to disapprove, aren't they? You know?
Yeah.
There's no point in having a dad if he doesn't say, put up that terrible music, you know. Don't dress in those terrible clothes. That's what you're there for, you know. But I don't do that because he's a really wonderful son to me. He really is. He's so kind, thoughtful. And he never forgets things like he said to me just recently, I won't see you now till the end of October. And it sounded very touching until I realised that means don't forget to have my birthday present there when I get there, you know.
When is his birthday?
In 25th of August. But he's been recording, see, and he likes his card on his birthday. And then he comes round and he opens up the present, and it's very flattering because I choose him little. Last time I gave him a ceramic hand-painted Peruvian chess set. Which I've lighted on, you know, and I thought he might unwrap one and say, "Oh, that's nice." He unwrapped every one of them and put them on the board. Yeah, lovely, yeah. And it's very flattering. So I never criticise him really because he has a thought in his mind. He look a certain way, and he's so clever at everything. You know, you'd be at your peril to disagree with what he's doing because he's so versatile in music now. Yeah,
the Brodsky Quartet that he did, and of course the Meltdown season.
Do you know what? My wife and I had to stop listening to the Brodsky music because it haunted us. We couldn't get to sleep at nights. We could hear Jacqueline going, playing a cello, and the themes are absolutely exquisite, you know. It's beautiful music, and he sings so well, you know. Michael Thomas wrote a beautiful thing called Skeleton, which Dex sings, and now I've got a second family now, boys between 17 and 22, and now they sing it, so we can't escape it. And I always apologise to my neighbour. Hi, Karen. She's a beautiful neighbour. She never ever complains about the 25 hours a day of music, you know.
Because your boys play, and of course, Declan, Elvis, I see you're calling him Dec, I'm calling him.
That's right. My grandson.
Your grandson, Elvis's son, Matthew, plays in that band, doesn't he?
He plays in the same band.
With his uncles.
That's right, with his uncles, yeah.
Step-uncles.
Yeah, they call it second nature, you see, because they're all related, you see. And there are four of them. There's Liam plays drums, and Kieran plays keyboards. Of course, Steve Naive, you know, eat your heart out.
Now, Elvis played at South Bank and did the Meltdown series there, but you also played at quite an illustrious venue yourself, because you played at Buckingham Palace, haven't you?
Oh, yes, we did.
How did that come about?
Through the Joe Loss Band, you know.
Right.
Joe became, I don't know why, I don't know the reasons, Joe became a great favourite with the royal family, you know. One hesitates to talk about it, about why or how, but they certainly seemed to like the music.
So who were you playing for?
The first one we did, I remember, the programme said Buckingham Palace Social Club, which sounded a bit like Hillsborough Social Club in Sheffield, you know, except it was in Buckingham Palace. And I remember sort of looking out the window into the mall and thinking, hold on, I was in Liverpool a few years ago, now I'm looking at the mall from inside Buckingham Palace, you know. And then we did an awful lot of things for the royal family at places like Windsor Castle and these sort of things. Some of them I didn't do, they played for weddings and things.
So did you meet any of the royals at the time?
I didn't actually. I was never introduced to them, but we just did our little bit there, you know.
Yeah, I thought you'd be there, hobnobbing with them, you know, you and Prince Philip, having a bit of a laugh.
Well, we can't talk about those
Drinking
things,
lemonade.
We're sworn to secrecy, of course.
It's a secret. OK, listen, on the subject of royals, let's go to horses, because I'm great with those links. Anyway, Matt Arnold is at Wembley Stadium for the Horse of the Year show, and he's bumped into somebody else. Let's have a look at this. Hi there, welcome back. I'm chatting with Ross MacManus, the voice behind the Secret Lemonade drink song, and of course, Elvis Costello's dad. Now, I was going to ask you, he was born Declan McManus, Elvis Costello,
right, yes,
and then comes up with this name, Elvis Costello. Where did that come from?
Well, he started, because I was with the musical establishment, being with Joe Loss, and he was sort of a bit revolutionary. I said to him, don't use my name. People just think I'm helping you along, you know, because you're doing it all on your own. So he decided to use my grandmother's name, who was Elizabeth Costello, or as it's correctly pronounced in Ireland, Costello.
Right.
And recently, my grandfather came from County Tyrone, and a few weeks ago, my wife and myself went over to County Tyrone, and we're doing a bit of checking around, you know, around Dungannon, where the family comes from.
Bit of amateur genealogy.
Yeah, that's it, yes, you've got to find out where they're from, you know, maybe you don't want to know. And I discovered that my grandfather remarried at the age of 42. I didn't know he had remarried. I got his wedding certificate. He married Elizabeth Costello in 1890, And on the wedding certificate, he's got widower. So we've got this thought now. Are there millions of McManuses running around County Tyrone playing guitars
with good glasses? He'd be able to make another group.
That's right, yeah.
So if we find out that, do you want me to sort of send on the forwarding addresses?
Just send a forward. No, yes, ring me, not
ring
you.
Me. No.
That's right. Then we have some more groups, Simon, yeah?
Of course. Yeah. Now, and the Elvis, where did that come from?
That was just a bit of cheek on the part of his management, you know, because he doesn't sound anything like Elvis. There's no way he portrays Elvis. It was just, I think they thought they were trying to get something that would sort of shock people, you know. Unfortunately, because Elvis Presley died a few months later, and in a sort of macabre way, that gave a little bit of a push to the whole thing, you know.
Every cloud.
Every cloud, yes, that's right, yeah.
Now, Elvis was on Fantasy Football League, and we've got a feature coming up in just a few minutes about Hamleys, because they're launching this range of dolls.
Oh, I see, yeah.
As such, and the England team, and
right.
Matt Letizia isn't there, of course.
He's not there.
He's not
Is he
there.
in the French team?
I don't know. And, of course, if Lee Dixon's there, so am I. But
right.
I wonder which football team you supported in the...
Well, it's one of the great sorrows in my life, you know, Simon. There are always burdens, you know, with all these things. And I knew, although Elvis has been good to me and is a nice lad, I knew in the end he would turn out bad.
Why's that?
He supports Liverpool, and I'm an Evertonian.
Oh, no.
And, you know, it's...
bit of friction there.
Well, yeah, you know, I try to love him. Just what is a father for?
You have to.
You have to do that. Well, but we are both united on Tranmere Rovers, you know.
Oh, right.
The best team on Merseyside.
Tranmere Rovers. So, up the Tranmere.
Yeah, they put my father in his grave, I'll tell you that.
Let's go back over to Ross here. Now, Elvis must have tons of fans. Obviously, so many albums and a 20-year recording career. But what about you, fans? Do you have lots of people ring you up?
Let me just tell you something. Now, this is, you know, nobody listening, is there?
No.
Because it's one of those secret things. I did a memorial concert with the Joe Loss Band recently, and I had a note sent to my dressing room. Please ring Katie. You know, usual stuff. I said to Larry Gretton, my partner, look, haven't lost the old charm. Still getting the ladies' messages to the dressing room. Ring this number. Unfortunately, it was an old people's home.
Never mind. Well, it's more than I ever get. I just sort of get, please ring your bank manager. That's the only thing I get. Anyway, we're going to have more chat with Ross coming up a bit later. If you want to play What's Cooking, you know the number. See you in a minute.
Then, you know.
I'm sorry, but you must know all about excitement, Ross. I mean, playing with Joe Loss's orchestra in the swinging 60s of all things. I mean, was it all mini skirts and Mary Quant hairstyles?
Oh, stop. I'd have to go and lie down now. Yeah, it was wonderful, actually, yeah. The strange thing about it, of course, was that by the standards of that time, I was already too old for everything, you know. Oh. But I was quite slim in those days, and I could dress up a bit, you know, and I got all the highwaymen jackets and everything. And we had the tremolos on. We had a radio program on every Friday. Yeah. And we had a group on every week, which is quite exciting too, because you know they were sort of leading the way into this new pop world. And the tremolos came one week, and one of them, I forget which one, it might have been Alan, said to me, you know, you've got all the gear, but you're still greasing your hair back. He said, let it grow. So I let it grow, and to my amazement, I began to resemble Rita Hayworth.
Oh, no.
I used to wear a black crew cut, and suddenly I had these waves of hair, you know. And, of course, all the people then who, like Prince Paul Jones, who said, I never want to be 40 and singing with Joe Loss like Ross MacManus is, now you can't prise their fingers off the business. They're still, you know, they're 157 years of age and still going around, and they'll sing forever, you know. And so I'm sort of now disapproving of another lot of people, you know.
You're retired and disapproving of those. I mean, the Rolling Stones are still going, and they're all
I know, yes.
50s. Yeah. What do you think of that? Do you think it's...
No, I think it's great.
You think it's great?
See, we're all like old boxers, you know. We want one more fight. And I retired 2 years ago, and this summer I had a call from an agent up in Manchester. He said, would you ever come and do a couple of weekends with me? He said, people are asking for you. So I went up there and got to the club. He said, what have you done with your car? I said, buy the new houses, it looks nicer. Don't leave it there, he said, it'll be burned. And they locked my car in a steel container the whole time that I was on stage. And then they bodyguard you back to... And I thought, well, maybe I did the right thing in retiring, you know.
That's what I have to do with my underpants come wash day. Lock them in a steel container and put, like, do not open, because they have a half-life, you see,
that's right.
1,000 years. But we've got to go over to Matt Arnold. He's at Wembley Stadium because the Horse of the Year show is taking place there. Matt, how are you doing? Now, how did you come about to be the voice behind the Secret Lemonade Drinker song?
it's a pure piece of nepotism, actually, because I came to London to be a jazz trumpet player, and everybody wanted me to sing. Every time I tried to play, they'd say sing. So I took some lessons from a very fine trumpet player, a man called John Shakespeare, and he became he and his wife became Shakespeare's for advertising, Shakespeare's for music. And they came to a gig that I was doing with the Joe Loss Band one day, and they were guests, and they were very involved in advertising, and John said, hey, look who's here, you know, Ross, I used to give him lessons, why don't I use you? So I did a lot of adverts for John, and this was just one of them. And of course, you never can tell which one is going to take, because you go into the studio and you're asked to sing, they give you the script and you sing it, and you try it this way and that way and the other way. And a few weeks before, I'd been asked to do a budget record of Elvis Presley songs. So I'd been studying how he sang, because truthfully, I didn't think much of him as a singer. That'll lose the stage.
That's blasphemy.
Yeah, that's blasphemy. So I had to study these records of him. And I was in the studio, and we went on and on and on trying to find this voice for this thing. And suddenly, sheer desperation, I went, secret lemonade, this sort of over-the-top Presley thing.
Yeah.
And off it went to the client, and John said, they won't like that, you know. But it came back, like all good stories, that's the voice they want, you know. It's always like that. And I did loads of other ones in the same sort of spirit. You just do them off the top of your head. It's the only thing that you can sort of contribute, you see.
After 150 years old, the product and the ads had a renaissance. And,
that's right, yes.
And you're back on the scene. Ross MacManus, it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Simon, it's been great to talk to you.
Thanks very much. And give our best to Elvis as well. And good luck with your team as well.
And of course, Second Nature, we must mention
Second Nature. to all your lads, good luck to them. And of course, Matthew, your grandson.
Thank you very much indeed.
Big thank you to Ross MacManus. More live TV after the break.